does it really take to be great in life? Is greatness something that is reserved just for a selected few, that the rest of the world are meant to sit back and celebrate? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5K insight from a book that will position you for greatness in life. Stick around. My name is Goodness and you're welcome to Insights with Goodness. On this channel, I share with you practical wisdom, practical insights to help you become successful and be all that God has created you to be. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification. You're welcome. So today I'm going to be sharing with you our 5 key lessons from a book, How to Become Great Through Time Conversion, written by Sunday Adelaja. Now, this is a book I read recently and I just thought to share the insight I got from this book because they were so deep, they were so profound, especially if you're one who is interested in not just living an ordinary life, but a life of greatness, a life of legacy. So stay around and I'll be sharing these 5 lessons with you. The lesson number 1 I got from this book, the first insight I got from this book is that everyone has an opportunity. Everyone has an equal opportunity to be great. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. Greatness is not dependent on your background, is not dependent on your nationality, is not dependent on your tribe. Greatness is something that everyone can achieve if you understand it. We all have what it takes to be great. And I don't care who you are, where your background wherever you're from, you have the potential, what it takes to be great. What is that thing that is required to be great? It's time. And time is what the wise people call a universal equalizer. We all have 24 hours. The rich do not have 25 hours. The poor do not have 22 hours. The American does not have 26 hours, while Nigerian have 22 hours. No, we all have time. And time is something God has all given to us in equal quantity. And what you really need to be great is time. So if you have time, if you're alive, it means you have what it takes to be great. But what we're going to be learning further from this book is how to convert that time to be great. So number 1, you have what it takes. If you have time, you have what it takes to be great. You have equal opportunity for greatness. So greatness is not something that is reserved for a particular societal class. No, greatness is something that you can be and you should be if you know how to use your time and invest your time wisely. The insight number 2 I got from this book is that the first principle of greatness is for you to discover your area of calling. So now you know I also can be great. Greatness is not something that is reserved for a particular group of people. I can be great. But what you now need to do, or what you now need to do next, is to discover your area of calling. God never created us to be great in every field. No, your greatness is tied to your purpose in life. And this was one thing Sunday Adelaja stressed so much in this book. Now, if I call many names, if I call a name like Miles Monroe, what do you remember him for? If I call a name like John Maxwell, what do you know him for? They are all known for specific things. So if you're going to be great in life, what are we going to know you for? Stop trying to be a jack of all trade and master of none, but discover and find your area of calling. What skill do you have? What are your strengths? These are the things that will reveal to you your area of calling. So your gifts were given to you for a reason. If you can find them and begin to develop them. So he said, find and develop yourself in your area of calling, not in doing every other thing. So it's futility to try to see other people and want to be like them. They are great because they are taking advantage of their strength in their area of calling. And if you also are going to be great, then you need to find your strength and your area of calling. So the third insight I got from this book is that the best investment of time is the time you spend adding value to yourself. So we know the resource you need to be great is time, but what you do with that time will determine whether you become great or not. And he's saying one of the ways to invest your time, one of the ways to use your time is when you spend your time adding value to yourself. Now, we talked about 3 ways time can be used. Time can either be wasted when you do things that you cannot account for, or time can be spent when you exchange your time for something, or time can be invested. Now, you know, whatsoever you invest multiplies. And he's saying one of the ways to invest your time is to invest it adding value to yourself. Because when you add value to yourself, you become more valuable. So one of the things you're doing right now by watching this video is time you're spending adding value to yourself, because you're gaining wisdom, you're gaining insight. So the best use of time are the time we spend adding value to our lives, not the time you spend endlessly on social media chatting away, but time you spend deliberately adding to yourself, reading books, attending seminars, learning something, developing your skill. You're never going to be a master at any skill, any gift, if you don't invest time in developing it. So he talked about a whole lot of people who have become great in different fields. I mean, those who paint, those who are athletic and different things. But for each and every one of them, one thing that is common to all of them is how they became master at what they were doing by investing time in practice, time in developing that skill. So if you're going to be a master, I know of musicians who spend about 8 hours just learning how to play an instrument every day, and at the end of the day they become masters. So one of the best investments of time is time invested in adding value to yourself. So the fourth insight I got from this book is that for you to be great, you must convert your time into tangible products. Now this is so profound. Time is something that is intangible. You really cannot hold that, oh, this is 1 hour. But greatness comes when you're able to convert your 1 hour into a tangible product. So someone invested about 3 months researching to write a book. So what he has been able to do is to provide a product. For 3 months, I invested 3 months in producing this product. So that book becomes a tangible product. You might be a musician, someone who sings. Now your song, the time you spent into writing that song, producing that song becomes a tangible product. So what are you producing with your life? And this is one of the reasons why Africans or Nigerians we're sort of behind, because we are not producing. Every year in comes, year in goes, we are not producing. But for you to be great, you must be productive, producing something with your time. What are you producing? What was the product of your day? What is the product of your month? What is the product of your week? What's the product of the year? The year is going to come and the year is going to go. At the end of the year, what will you say? This is what I produced at the end of this year. So think of ways you can be productive. Think of ways you can really produce. What can you do? Turn it into a product. Let it be something that is tangible. Turn your time into tangible products. And product is not restricted to just one thing. It can be in different areas, different things. I mean, your skill, turn it into a product. You might know how to cook, but you know, a recipe is a product. Yes, you having a recipe, that becomes a product. So what can you do? Have a product. Keep producing, keep producing. The more you produce, the more the likelihood, or the more great you become, if I put it that way. But you get what I'm saying. He's saying for you to be great, you must convert your time into producing tangible products. We celebrate inventors today because they used their life, they used their time to produce something. Today they are no longer here, but we have products that we can remember them for. You know, something about life is you might not always be here, but when you leave, what is that thing we're going to hold on to? The life of Miles Monroe keeps blessing me. Why? Because there are so many products he left behind. We have his videos, we have his books, we have his teachings, which were products that he produced with his life. Because you see, time is life. So if you have 50 years, you lived 50 years on earth, it means God gave you 50 years. Your ability to convert that 50 years into tangible products. There are people who lived for Methuselah age, and at the end of the 900 and something years, there is nothing tangible we can hold on to for their life. So if you're going to be great, you want to produce things consistently with your life. The last insight I got from this book is that solitude is the habit of all great achievers. Solitude is the habit of all great achievers. Now, what does solitude mean? That time that you spend alone with yourself, that time that you spend in quietness. You know, this is something that is common to all great inventors. There are people who spend time thinking. There are people who spend time meditating. There are people who spend time actually doing the work. Solitude. Even the Bible said something. He said, through desire, a man separates himself and intermeddles with all what? Wisdom. So if you are going to be great, you must learn the practice of solitude. You must learn the practice of staying with yourself. I mean, thinking. Because if you don't really think deep, you cannot produce things that the world will celebrate. If you don't have time alone for yourself, when are you going to do the work? Everybody you see who writes a book, everybody you see who's an outstanding musician, or I'm using some of the things that I bit common, they spend time alone. If you're always out there, always with people, always hanging around, when are you going to really have time to produce? When are you really going to have time to be productive? Solitude is one of uh, the best thing you can do, one of the best practice you can begin to what inculcate. Don't just be out there. Have time alone. Have time alone where you commune with God, because that's one of your access to ideas. That's one of the access you receive inspiration to produce things. So you must learn the practice of solitude. You must learn the practice of staying alone. I mean, stay alone. I mean, we're living in a generation where we don't like to be alone. We hate anything that has to be being alone. We call it boring. No. If you understand what to do in a place of solitude, if you understand the power of meditation, then you will take advantage of solitude. You will take advantage of that time when you're alone to think and produce things that the world will remember you for. So these are my 5 key insights. There are many more lessons to learn from this book, but these are the 5 insights that I thought to share with you. And of course, you can go ahead and read this book. I'm going to leave the link to where you can get these books on Instagram, and they'll deliver it to you. The link will be in the description column down there. So let's talk. Let me know in the comments one of the lessons you learned from this video. And if you've read this book before, of course, I did not talk about all the lessons in this book. Please share with us in the comments. I'll go through the comments and also get to learn from you. And others can also learn from the insight you got while reading the book. So there you go. That's my 5 key insight from the book, How to Become Great Through Time Conversion. Don't forget to subscribe, and please share these videos with your friends so more people can get to learn from the insight I share constantly on this channel. See you in my next video. Bye bye.